Hey, it's Jessica Namasso with WTF Health. Joining me right now, I have the co-founder of Health 2.0 and the founder of Smack Health. This is Matthew Holt. Matthew, always a pleasure to have you on camera with me.
We don't do it enough, do we, Jessica?
No, we absolutely do not. This is my lovely co-host from Health in 2.0, Health Check's favorite 2-minute question and answer series.
How does it always last like 5 minutes? I don't know.
Because you never stop talking. Also, okay, so introduce everybody for those who are not familiar with Smack. This is the consulting business you started a little bit over a year ago, right? So talk to me a little bit about what you guys do at Smack and who you're working with.
Okay, so Smack Health is the answer to the question. After I finished with Health 2.0,
what are you going to do with your life?
Well, it was kind of what am I going to do with my life, but really it was the answer to the question, which is, can you help me with my startup? And after about 20 people saying, can you help me with my startup, I went, I could spend a lot of time helping people with their startups and become very poor very rapidly. So what I did is I created a membership program. I recruited the inestimable Zoe Khan who helps me with it. And what we do is we take startups through a cycle where they join for one low annual fee.
Ooh.
Oh yes, it's good. It is.
Wait, is it flashing right now on the bottom?
One low annual fee. Call the number on your screen. Yes. It's like, so what it is I take them through a 6-step process. First step is basically psychological counseling for the CEO. Okay, you're trying to do a startup, what's gone wrong, what's going on so far. Second step is, okay, let's work on your product market fit. What have you got in your product? What does it need to have? And which market should you be aiming at? Third step is, how can you tell an investor, a customer, or somebody else who cares about what it is, which is working on your deck. Related to that is working on your demo, because you're a tech product, you've probably got a demo, and so you probably want to show that off well. You may have heard, in fact, you would say I ran Health 2.0. We may have heard we did about 4,000 tech demos. Some of the HLTH guys have not managed to steal from us, but anyway, they should have done, it's a cool thing. Fifth step is, now you've got that all in decent shape, who do you want to meet? Probably want to meet an investor, a customer, potential employees, or maybe another tech company to do some business with, a partner. And the sixth one is, okay, how do you want to present that to the world? So which conferences do you want to go to? Which blogs do you want to write in? Who do you want to talk to in the journalistic world? So that's kind of bite-sized advice that I give in all of those areas. And we've got about 32, or I'm looking at Zoe to ask how many customers, 32, 33 customers at the moment. We're pretty full. We've got the light flashing on the screen is we have room probably for 2 or 3 more at the moment.
Nice.
So that's what it is. There's a couple other features. We also have an offshore team that can help with basic stuff like websites, graphics, putting together podcasts and videos, because we have this healthcare blog, which they also work on that for. And then I have a network of experts if we need to go deep water into clinical, technology, patents, regulatory, PR, and some different aspects of that. I can find more, even headhunters, I can find more people for you to go work with directly. So that's the service.
That's the service. Fantastic. And so is there a certain kind of startup that is a good fit for you?
It depends, right? So I always thought it would be somebody fairly early, but actually it's tended to be a mix. So I've got a number of companies who raised, most people have got a product. You've got to have a product, you've got to have had a little bit of money and a little bit of a team, but you may not be fleshed out with your team and your product may not be finalized. You probably have an early customer or 2 or an early set of beta users, so you're probably a little bit in there. I'm not quite ready for you at the napkin stage. I've got 1 from the napkin stage, but most of them are in that kind of round where they've raised $500,000 to maybe $1 million, and they've spent some of it and they're kind of figuring out, okay, they built that first step. There's another group who've raised probably in the order of $2 to $3 million and have got the first, product pretty decently done, and have got maybe, 4 or 5 of those sort of early customers under their belt, and they're trying to figure out how to scale from that. They're building out their teams, they're trying to build an organization. And then I've got 3 or 4 who raised a lot more. One of them's raised actually $50 million. And what they're doing is trying to figure out how to use our consultation advice for sort of making a particular splash in particular markets. So it varies, and then I may be working more with their head of strategy or head of marketing more so than the CEO themselves. But usually the CEO's brought me in to try to help sort of figure out how to steer the ship a bit differently.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, as far as a startup who's out there who might be listening to this and thinking, do they have to go through all 6 steps of that cycle, or can they just use you for one thing? I
mean, they can, but I won't let somebody go to a VC or a provider organization until I think they're ready to have a decent conversation. And, there's no diplomatic way to say this. Most CEOs and most startups at that level are not ready to tell their own story and not ready to demo properly and not ready to go in public. it's obvious why not. They've been building this thing, they've been putting it together, they're too close to it. They need someone who can step back a bit. This is why you're only a very experienced musician who produced your own songs. Usually had the Beatles had George Martin, and he would say, okay, you're the great songwriters, but we've got to figure out a way to put this into a format that makes sense, and that's really what I'm doing a lot of.
Okay. How has this been received on the other side? So it's as you guys, you're making introductions, you're helping bring in networks of experts. You've got a great network. You've been around since the very beginning.
Am I?
You're
saying I'm really freaking old.
You might be the grandfather of health tech. I don't want to label you that in case it sticks.
There are older
hashtag grandfather of health tech.
There are older people than me are out of here. Jeff.
No, this is true, but I'm just saying, as far as it's kind of like a little mini boot camp, but it's kind of on the startup side.
So I think the answer to that is there is a flow problem in both directions, right? There are too many startups not knowing quite who they're chasing. So I am a little bit of a filter, but I'm not the only one. And don't forget, startups have to be hustles. They have to go after many different avenues. So I think that if it comes through me, I hope that a VC or a provider organization or a health plan has some theory that the person arriving there will, not be tripping over their tongue, and will have a decent deck and will be able to explain what they're doing, because they should be once they've got past me, I hope. That's the idea, right? And vice versa, that the startup showing up at the investor or at the health plan or whatever, has some expectation that that person I'm sending them to is kind of the right person. Because that's a really big information brokering problem, and hopefully I'm solving it in a very small way. But that's the idea. My goal here is to be not their VP of business development. I'm not coming in and running strategy for them. This is a bite-sized series of steps that are going to help them to teach them to fish rather than fish for them.
Okay. It sounds like you've disrupted yourself here a little bit. I can't believe you start with psychological counseling when you are best known for being somebody who is angry and on Twitter. That's fantastic.
You just going to need more psychological counseling?
I don't know. I think that's funny. That's a great step one. So for those startups who want to check it out, it's smack.health, your website.
Smack.health, SMACK, which stands for Social Sensors, Mobile Analytics Cloud, the SMAC, and K for kindness, because we're in healthcare, .health.
Thanks, Matthew. All right. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica DeMassa with WTF Health. Thanks so much for watching.